He fights. He just breaks people.
Yeah.
You know, he says he always throws punches like 50-60%.
Yeah.
Everything's 50-60%. But if he just chose to not cut weight at all, it's not like it's impossible. He's not a small guy. He's just real lean.
Oh, I've never been around him in person, but he doesn't seem like he cuts a ton for 170.
No. Well, his pace is so crazy that he can't be drained.
Joe Rogan warned Alex Pereira, stating that he might be making a big mistake by agreeing to fight Khamzat Chimaev. Rogan believes in Chimaev's relentless fighting style, particularly his powerful wrestling and ability to dominate any opponent on the ground.
Izzy fight is the big money fight anyway. That's the big money fight.
Well, he gets pay-per-view now.
Yeah, like, he's the champion.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
it's amazing. Look, I was a giant fan of that guy before he ever fought in MMA, and when he fought in MMA, I was so happy.
I remember you saying that early before he even got signed, or right as he got signed or something.
He's the outlier of all outliers.
Yeah.
When it comes to striking, like he's that power outlier. You watch his, find his highlight KO reel. Bro, it's preposterous. His highlight KO reel is like what is he doing?
Joe Rogan stated that Alex Pereira may not be capable of handling Khamzat Chimaev, particularly when it comes to the grappling aspect of the fight, so Alex should not fight.
He's going to know he can do it again. He did it again. He knocked him out 2 fights in a row, knocked him out in kickboxing, and knocked him out in MMA for the world title.
That's
like, he's going to know he can do it again. But what do you do if you're the UFC? Do you risk Pereira against a Marvin Vettori or Pereira against a Robert Whittaker? Because if Izzy doesn't fight him right away, and one of those guys is really good at wrestling...
We're hearing the rumors. I have credible people telling me it's a possibility. Now I'm thinking to myself, will Dana White actually send Alex Pereira to the slaughterhouse here? How you gonna do my boy Alex like that, bro? This is first-degree murder. You're putting a fighter up against an assassin.
Khamzat Chimaev is focused on winning the belt in his current weight class first, before considering moving up to challenge for the light heavyweight title.
What do you envision your title run looking like? Do you want to clear out the middleweight division, or would you prefer to sort of go up to light heavyweight and challenge Alex Pereira?
Bro, I'm talking about 3 belts from a long time ago, so of course I want to go up. But what Dana White, what the UFC wants, I don't know, man. So if they gives me first, I has in my weight class need to take the belt, so then I gonna think about it as well.
Khamzat Chimaev has expressed confidence ahead of his upcoming fight with Alex Pereira, claiming that it's going to be an easy win for him.
It's much easily fight for me in the UFC.
You think you versus Alex is the easiest fight for you in the UFC?
Yeah, in my career, brother.
How long does it last in your opinion?
First round, first minute.
Easy.
Easy.
Do you think he beats?
No punch, nothing.
MMA referee legend John McCarthy and former world champion Josh Thompson have shared their thoughts on Alex Pereira's upcoming fight, highlighting its significance for his career. As Pereira looks to solidify his legacy, this bout could mark a defining moment in his journey.
Right now there's talks of Chimaev and Pereira potentially fighting at 205, and Alex came out and said, hey, I am scheduled to fight. There is a fight that they're putting in front of me. I'm very happy, but guess what? It's not Ankalaev. It's more of like a jab at Ankalaev. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, I can't think of somebody that would bring the excitement like a Chimaev that would get Alex excited for that same fight.
That's a big fight.
Let's
be honest. And you look at it and you go, you know, it's one that people would absolutely get wrapped around.
John McCarthy believes that while Alex Pereira has secured numerous victories, his performances haven't been as dominant and outstanding compared to Khamzat Chimaev, and Chimaev has the bigger edge in winning this fight.
Earned his spot in the rankings, but if you take a look at his performances, for the most part, they've been boring. Most of his fights have not been exciting. They've been drawn out. He has, you know, slowly and systematically taken over in the fight, won the fights, but none of them have been, wow, that was a great performance. Wow, that was exciting. Where Chimaev has had nothing but, for the most part, exciting fights. Great performances in a lot of them. And so when you're looking at Poton against somebody, who would you rather see him fight? Chimaev or Ankalaev? I'd rather see him fight Chimaev.
No, absolutely.
More exciting fight overall.
Josh Thompson shared his perspective on the high stakes for Khamzat Chimaev in this fight. Despite being an undefeated fighter, Thompson believes that if Chimaev loses, he won't have the chance of claiming he remains unbeatable.
Chimaev is the guy that's got all the talk and all the publicity and the aura about him. my only knock on him, Chimaev, going up to 205 to take that fight, is that if you lose, I don't want to hear excuses. You understand what I'm saying? Like I was fighting at 205, and I feel like I don't know if the UFC will do whatever. I guess I shouldn't say I don't know if the UFC would do that, because
Alex Pereira has already managed to captivate the MMA fans despite his break. The 2024 Fighter of the Year has not only defended his crown 3 times this year, but has also been a lifesaver for Dana White by taking 2 fights on short notice. The UFC light heavyweight champion is up for his first title defense of 2025, and he is in the limelight because of the rumors surrounding his next opponent. Even Dana White teased a mega fight in 2025 involving Poatan prior to UFC Tampa. The Brazilian posted on X, "It won't be Ankalaev." If we take Pereira's words, then there are very few potential matchups left that make sense for him in that weight class. Well, one of his likely opponents could be moving up from a lower weight class in UFC middleweight Phenom Khamzat Chimaev. Boris talked about his keen interest in going up to light heavyweight and even challenged Poatan on numerous occasions. Now, what do the insiders think about this? Should Alex Pereira give Magomed Ankalaev his due? Or should he give fans what they want and welcome Chimaev to a new weight class? Khamzat grappling and wrestling are widely regarded as elite in MMA. Alex Pereira, being a decorated striker with a kickboxing background, has faced criticism for his ground game. Khamzat believed that he could dominate Pereira on the ground, making it an easier fight.
So of course I've been always open for that. So I know stylistically this match for me much easier than other guys, So but in striking, I'm honest. I know the guy can knock me out,
Yeah, of course.
Everyone. I know the guy is good striker, one of the best guy who has hardest punches. But I'm one of the best grappler, best wrestler.
Yeah.
He's not that.
Sure.
So
It'd be an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
While discussing upcoming 2025 fights, Big John McCarthy and Josh Thompson discussed who could likely be the best opponent for Poatan. Thompson spoke about the rumors of a fight between the 12-2 Brazilian and the undefeated middleweight star. He said, "Right now there are talks of Chimaev and Pereira potentially fighting at 205. And Alex came out and said, 'Hey there, I have scheduled a fight. There is a fight in front of me. I'm very happy. But guess what? It's not Ankalaev. It's more like a jab at Ankalaev. Outside of that, I can't think of somebody who would bring the excitement like a Chimaev would.'" According to The Punk, his fights are boring, and he has systematically won fights without show-stopping performances. Big John agreed to this opinion and gave props to Chimaev for being in very entertaining fights, especially his last one at UFC 308 against Robert Whittaker, who he handed a jaw-hurting loss. The retired MMA referee also mentioned, "So when you're looking at Poatan against somebody, who would you rather see him fight, Chimaev or Ankalaev? I'd rather see him fight Chimaev. That would get Alex excited for that same fight." On that note, Thompson praised Chimaev without reprimanding the 20-1 Russian light heavyweight star. This fight is great to speculate, but Dana White has not confirmed or mentioned anything at all. And if Pereira fights Chimaev, it spells bad news for the light heavyweight contenders seeking to climb the ranks, in a division that has already been clogged before. But that doesn't stop people from speculating on this exciting matchup, and Brendan Schaub also had things to say about this fight. Brendan Schaub connected the dots on the potential matchup between Alex Pereira and Khamzat Chimaev. Big Brown said on his podcast, "That makes total sense. It's a good matchup for Khamzat. He can take him down. Can he hold him down? I don't know, but if it's on the feet, it's night-night for the Chechen. Alex hits so hard." Since the fight is not finalized yet, Schaub also speculated about other opponents Poatan could face if Chimaev was not on the line, adding, "But who could it be if it's not Khamzat?" Gilbert Burns, a Brazilian mixed martial artist, shared his thoughts on Alex Pereira, expressing that he believes Pereira is physically too big and strong for many of the fighters who want to face him. Burns mentioned that Chimaev might think he can take Pereira down easily and wrestle him to a finish, but he warns him too.
So when you hear Khamzat saying he wants to go up and fight him right away, like you've been in there with him, do you think Alex is just physically just too big for these guys that want to fight him?
Seeing a matchup, like, I think Chimaev thinks he's gonna take him down very easy and gonna out wrestle him and finish. That's kind of like the way I think he sees it. this guy is so strong, bro. He's huge.
Burns stated that Pereira is a challenging opponent for anyone, including Robert Whittaker and Khamzat Chimaev. He believes a matchup between Chimaev and Pereira would be an exciting and difficult fight for both.
I don't know. I think he fought at 218 his last fight against Adesanya. I think he made 185. And the next day, before the fight, I'm not sure, but I think it was 217, 218 at night. Like, that's more than T-Bow. Remember Gleison T-Bow? Gleison T-Bow was making 55 and fight at 180, 185. This guy is 218. Wow. I don't think it's an easy fight for anyone. I don't think it's an easy fight for Robert Whittaker. I don't think it's an easy fight for Chimaev. I think Chimaev it will be a great matchup because if it does...
Gilbert Burns mentioned that while Chimaev's wrestling could be effective in the fight against Alex Pereira, he also recognized that Pereira's size and strength would make it a challenging matchup.
If Pereira training this guy a little bit, he kind of gets an understanding of the game and good takedown defense. Oh, that guy got a good takedown defense. He's a problem for anyone at 85, at 205. The only thing you will think, if you get a good heavy wrestler that can take him down, okay, now if you get this guy defending the takedown.
Meanwhile, #1 ranked light heavyweight combatant Magomed Ankalaev insinuated that even though Alex Pereira had not yet signed the contract, he expects to fight for the UFC title in spring 2025. Pereira has not yet agreed to the fight, but sooner or later it will happen. I think the fight can take place in May, stated Ankalaev during a Q&A. He has plans to defeat Pereira twice in 2025 and confidently proclaimed the same on social media. Unfortunately for the Russian, it looks like Poatan is not in the least bit interested in him and will only fight him if the UFC forces him to. On top of that, the Brazilian also hinted at his interest in moving up to heavyweight. He talked about his eagerness to become the first UFC fighter to hold titles in 3 divisions, potentially challenging either John Jones or Tom Aspinall. Even John Jones wants to fight the Brazilian phenom, calling him a dangerous and established opponent over the heavyweight division's interim champ. However, Dana White has strongly rejected the idea of a John Jones versus Alex Pereira fight, stating no fucking way and emphasizing the substantial size difference between the two. So in this scenario, do you think Dana White will announce a 2025 fight for Pereira against Chimaev or Ankalaev? With UFC 2024's final event wrapping up an action-packed year, UFC boss Dana White managed to ignite even more excitement during the chilly winter season. At the UFC Tampa Collision press conference last week in Tampa, Florida, White dropped a bombshell teaser about the upcoming year. His bold claim, "I've got something in the works that you'll never see coming for 2025, sent shockwaves through the MMA community, leaving fans buzzing with speculation. Earlier this year, whispers of this matchup circulated intermittently, with Khamzat Chimaev himself hinting at the possibility, stating, "I've always been open for it." The speculation gained more momentum recently when the Instagram page MMA Uncensored claimed that the fight was being booked for the UFC light heavyweight title. While the rumor is yet to be officially confirmed, it has sparked heated discussions among fans and fighters alike. Looking at the light heavyweight division, Alex Pereira has solidified himself as a dominant force, having defeated almost everyone in his path except for Dagestani sensation Magomed Ankalaev. On the other hand, Khamzat Chimaev emerges as an ideal challenger for Poatan thanks to his imposing walk-around weight and history of difficulties cutting down to welterweight. Borz's notorious weight loss has only fueled speculation, further cementing the idea of a move to light heavyweight as both logical and intriguing. While having a conversation on his YouTube handle, Cormier emphasized that Chimaev should be awarded the title fight next time. Cormier said, "Khamzat Chimaev earned himself a title shot, or at least he should have. He submitted Robert Whittaker in the first round. Went across the octagon, double-legged him, took him down, choked him, and broke his jaw. With a squeeze from a rear naked choke." Khamzat Chimaev has never been one to hold back when it comes to speaking his mind, and his recent comments about Alex Pereira have once again turned heads. He further added, "It was nuts to see him do that to a guy that was the generation before him, was one of the guys. Robert Whittaker for a long time has been one of the guys. When he wasn't the champion, he was ranked number 1 or number 2. Chimaev is ranked 12th right now. He went and beat him in the first round. Meanwhile, some fans of Alex Pereira have even voiced concerns, advising him against taking the fight with Chimaev. One fan expressed, "I love Alex, and he should not take this fight. It's a very dangerous fight for him." Meanwhile, another fan is eager to see Borz move up to heavyweight, stating heavyweight next for Borz. Robert Whittaker, former UFC middleweight champion, is weighing in on a hypothetical fight between UFC light heavyweight champ Alex Pereira and the undefeated Khamzat Chimaev. Over the past few days, rumors circulated about an out-of-nowhere matchup between the two popular competitors. Whittaker, who recently suffered a first-round submission loss to Chimaev at UFC 308 in October, has seen the social media discussion about the matchup and discussed it on his MMRcade podcast. Whittaker said, "Chimaev would win easily, not easily, but Chimaev though is my pick." Chimaev is in prime position to fight for the middleweight title in his next fight following his brutal finish of Whittaker. Dricus du Plessis is set to defend the belt against Sean Strickland in a rematch at February's UFC 312 event. Pereira could face top contender Magomed Ankalaev after 3 successful title defenses in 2024, but Poten has already teased that will not be his next opponent. The Brazilian star has also been called out multiple times by heavyweight champion John Jones for a super fight. But if the UFC were to somehow put together a Pereira versus Chimaev matchup, even though Whittaker feels confident Chimaev would win, he does see a potential nightmare situation for Borz. He added, "I don't know unless the light heavyweight strength change is a dynamic that Chimaev can't take him down. Chimaev will get the takedown." Robert Whittaker has weighed in with a perspective that adds fuel to the debate. Known for his analytical approach to the fight game, Whittaker dissected the matchup and explained he's good at what he does, plays into his strength. But let's say hypothetically, if China slows down, gasses a little bit, Pereira won't. He can strike a sleep dead tired. He's been doing it his whole life. He'll kill Chimaev in the stand-up. It won't be like the Usman-Chimaev fight, where Usman was kind of outboxing him a little bit at that period when Chimaev got tired. It'll be a slaughter if he does that with Pereira. The upcoming fight between Alex Pereira and Khamzat Chimaev is shaping up to be an electrifying showdown. With Pereira's striking power and Chimaev's relentless wrestling, it's a clash of two completely different fighting styles. Will Pereira's strength and precision be enough to fend off Chimaev's dominant grappling, or will Chimaev prove too much for Pereira to handle? Let us know the predictions in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.